Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 19th day of Arsenal's transfer misery. Doesn't get any better, does it, as the days go on? To help us with the expected disappointment, of course, I've got a legend right here, man. Right here. Matty, thank you very much for jumping on, man, and joining me. It's very honored to have you on the channel, as always, bro.
Yeah, man. Good morning from across the pond, brother. Good afternoon, good evening, where everybody are in the world. We're here, brother. We are here, Aaron. Always good to be with you, my friend.
Nah, you're good, man. The pleasure's all mine, Matty, always, man. And just to have a little warm up to get the old get us going. How you been doing today, man? What you been up to?
Good, man. I actually just got up not too long ago, man. I was up late with Brother Gunner last night, one of the midnight runs, and let me text him right quick. Make sure he's up right quick while it's on my mind. Yeah, I forgot to text to call him when I woke up this morning. let me make sure he up right now while it's on my mind, man.
Do you know what I
But yeah,
always say? Like going on Lee's stream is like you know when you lie to yourself and you go down the pub with a mate and you sort of say, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna go down to the pub for one." That's sort of like going on stream with Lee's like you think, "Oh, I'll jump on with him for an hour."
yeah, yeah.
Never an hour, is it? Never an
Nah,
hour. You
I
always
don't
you
have, yeah,
always
he's
stay
up.
for one, two.
Yeah, he just texts back. He's up.
He's up, yeah. Big up to Lee, man. Big up to him. Yeah, man. Do you know what? Today, Matt, I told you offline, and I'll be honest with everyone in the chat. It's Aaron out as well now because I had my little girl's sports day this morning, and I'm very competitive, and I'm also very quick. And every year I win my son's one, I win my daughter's one for the last 2 years, and I lost today. So there we go. I'm just the same as Arsenal Football Club.
Set,
I'm a loser. No silver medals.
setting the pace, man. You're setting the pace already, my
Yeah,
friend. Setting
yeah,
the
that's
pace.
it. That's it. Well, what can I do? So yeah, from one loser to another an Arsenal Football Club. But I want to start very briefly with the fixtures, only because I haven't asked you or got your opinion, Matty, on them. I'll get them up on screen. People have sort of seen them. What's your take on this? Because I've seen so many of Arsenal fans, top gooners, but quite a lot of people anyway, from whether you're in the middle, whatever you're thinking of them, damning and smashing these sort of fixtures. I mean, what's your sort of take on it,
I,
Matt?
I see. I see the season being over probably by November if we ain't careful.
Yeah,
I mean, I've been joking. I've been saying it's done by September, but
same.
yeah, I've been joking around saying that. In all sincerity, I think it would not where we need to be. I'm talking 1, 2. I'm talking 1 point behind. I'm talking at 2 with 1 point behind, or either 1 point one first with 2 or 3 points ahead. We're gonna be in trouble. December, January are extremely difficult fixtures. You look at December, and most people on paper would say,
Yeah,
"Well, we should be able to beat Aston Villa, Brentford, Wolves, Everton, Brighton. We should be able to beat them. We got Aston Villa twice in 15 days, so we should be able to beat these teams. These are all teams that's taken points off of us the last 3 years, multiple times, by the way. And so when you get to January, you see, okay, well, you got Bournemouth there, we got Forest. We'll see if Forest can replicate what they did this year. Most of the team is there, so I would assume that they will probably replicate a little bit of what they did, at what depending on what Edu does in the transfer window. And then you get Liverpool, United, and Leeds. Now Leeds away is always going to be tough.
yeah.
It's probably going to be a prime time game. That's going to be difficult, a difficult place to go. And Leeds are not a pushover team. A lot of people really didn't watch Leeds this year. I watched Leeds this year. I tend to watch them anyway when I get a chance. Got a good buddy of mine I play ball with. He's from Leeds.
Okay.
Man United. We'll know what Man United that is by the time we get to. We'll actually know what Man United is when the season starts. We'll have a good idea of where they are when the season starts anyway. So by the time we get there, they're going to either be somewhere in and around, or we'll, like I said, we'll find out what Man United we're dealing with. Liverpool, we know what we're dealing with. So it doesn't matter if it's home or away. Liverpool is still a difficult fixture regardless. And so those 2 months there, I think are going to be critical. There is a possibility. There is a world we live in where Arteta may not be the manager in January. There is a world that we live in that he may very well, if we're out of it, and if we're scrambling around again, like we were this year. Because see, people forget the title was lost for us in November this year.
Yep. Facts.
Because of the draws. 14 draws. I told you, you're not winning. You're not winning. You're not winning any titles. Drawing games. You're not doing it. You are not doing it. And when you look at this fixture list, I mean, let's go to October. Look at October. West Ham, Fulham, Palace. Those are all teams that's taking
Yeah.
part last
I was
season.
going to
The
mention
last
it.
two
Yeah.
seasons, they've all
Yeah.
taken points. Every last team has taken points off of us there. 10 men Fulham, West Ham, Palace. Every single team there. Then you go to February. You can go to February. What's that? Tottenham, Chelsea, two back to Brentford. That's three. It's three London derbies
On the trot, yeah.
on the trot.
Yeah.
That's three straight. So
Yeah, two of which are away.
yeah, and so then you go to March. Oh, banana peel, Brighton, Everton.
Drop points in 2 of the 3 again.
So what I mean, this schedule is like where there's no. This schedule is worse than last season's.
Yeah.
On paper, based off of what we've seen from last year, this schedule is worse than what we saw last year. And people are saying, "Oh, well, it was just the injuries." I'm telling you now, we have no room to breathe. And by the way, Aaron, there's no international break until October. So guess what? If we start out bad, there's no break. There's nothing to stop the free fall. There's nothing to stop it. So we're gonna have to either hit the ground running. I'm talking wins. Well, I'm talking about draws. I'm not talking. There's no more draws. There's no more draws this year, y'all.
Yeah.
Every game starting out every game this year, not just starting out. Let me preface that. Let me go back and pull that back. Every game this year is a cup final. Every single game is a cup final. We're playing Man United for the cup final. We're playing Leeds for the cup final. We're playing Liverpool for a cup final. Cup final. You should, when you do your watch alongs, you should change the Premier League. You should change cup final. Every game should be a cup EPL
Premier League Cup final.
Yeah, Premier League cup final. Watch along, because every game this year. I mean, just look at April. Man City, Newcastle. Man City, Newcastle. By that time, that April and May is going to be kit releases for us. That's just going to get ready for the next. That's going to get ready for the next season. New kit, away kit. You know, you start hearing the rumors. We'll hear about new signings coming in, supposedly. You know, verbal agreements. You hear all that stuff. That's the only thing gonna matter to us. March, April, May. Mind you, October, November, and September, Champions League. This is all going on with the Champions League, by the way.
Yeah.
And we got to get a good, decent draw in that. When we get a bad draw, end up in a group with somebody like Atleti, Juventus, who me and Lee watched last night.
Horrible teams. Yeah.
You end up in that with a Madrid. You know, for all this crap, all fans been talking about Madrid. Now, what would be our luck if we end up in a group with them? You know, you look at this, Aaron. Think about this. If we make it out of the group, there's a high possibility this year we're going to play an English team in the knockout round. Oh, Liverpool in the knockout round, City in the knockout round.
Yeah,
pack
your bags.
Chelsea knockout round. I'm telling you, Aaron. Excuse me. That this season is going to be one for the ages, and I'm not sure it's going to be in the positive way.
Nah.
This is why I've told everybody, and I know people have been upset with the transfers, and I keep telling people, don't worry about these transfers this summer. I know it's. I know it's hard, and I know it's wild for people to hear me say that. Stop worrying about these transfers. Why? Because it's not going to matter anyway. Because this season is going to be the end of this manager, and that's the most important thing for me, is that this season spells the end of this tyranny, of this madness that we've seen the last 6 years. I mean, absolute madness. And this schedule right here has set it up to where all he need. I was telling Guns last night. We was up late last night. I said, every month we have a back-to-back game. There's a back-to-back game in there somewhere where points can be dropped. Every month. Let's go down them. Leeds, Liverpool, Man City, Newcastle, Fulham, Palace, Spurs, Chelsea. Everton, Brighton, Aston Villa. That's 3 for you right there. And Aston Villa again. Just then you go to January. You got Bournemouth, Liverpool, United, Leeds. You see all these games
I
where
mean, you just look at them three, Matty. Liverpool home, Forest away, Man United at home.
Yeah.
That's a bastard of a trio.
Yeah, there is no way. There's no way in some of these months we're not dropping points. I can see right now, just me off the top of my head, Aaron. Right now, just looking at right now, I can tell you now I see 12 drop points already.
Oh, facts. Do you know what you made me have a little look at this in a different way where you sort of saying things, and I was looking at the individual months, and it's not all of them, but in most of these months we've dropped 60% of the points.
Yeah,
we've dropped points in 60% of the games in most of these months. Manchester United away and Liverpool away dropped points.
Yeah.
And then you got Manchester City. No, sorry, we beat Manchester City home. Newcastle away dropped points. That's one of the other ones. And then West Ham at home dropped points. Fulham at home dropped points. You know, the relegated teams we don't know, of course, or the promoted teams. Sorry, we don't know. Tottenham at home, I think we won. Chelsea away, we dropped points. So that's 50% of that because obviously there's 2 promoted teams in there. You Aston Villa away, I think we did win that one. To be fair, Everton dropped points. Brighton dropped points. Aston Villa dropped points. It's not looking great. You Bournemouth away lost. Liverpool at home dropped points. Man, I mean, it's ridiculous. Every single one of these games, we've got about 50-60% of points that we've dropped. And what worries you, Matty, is that we ain't done anywhere near enough to change that. Now, you're saying about the draws, 14 draws. That's ridiculous. 22 goals less scored from the previous year. You had 22 goals in there. I guarantee you probably get about 8 less draws. All of a sudden, you're in the title challenge. But go on, sorry.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you know, and this is the thing that should really spook everybody. Is that was last season when City was not good.
Yeah.
So 8 points, picking up just even 8, picking up those points you just stated. This season is probably not going to even be enough. Then this is why I said it's a mess. This is why I said it's a mess. Get it in your head. This season is going to be extremely, extremely tough. Like I said, unless this manager rips everything up, they come out with some new philosophy overnight that we hadn't seen. They've been having these clandestine meetings we don't know about, and they've been playing, and they've got something new lined up. I expect to see the same exact thing that we've seen before. I told
Maybe that's what they're doing behind the scenes, Matty, for the last month. They're working up this conjuring plan that they're going to.
Yeah, well, I hope it is cloak and dagger. I told Normski yesterday. I said he asked me a question. He said, "Well, Matt, do you think the manager would change his style of play?" I said he can't do that because they're so locked into what he's already programmed them because they've been doing it for 2 years. For them to go change everything now, it would throw off the players. It would throw them off.
Yeah.
So literally, it would basically be like we're resetting, and then we've got to get them back on page to do something new. See, this is why I keep telling everybody we should have sacked this manager after we bottled the league 8 points clear.
Facts.
Because we were at the apex of this entire thing. We was at the apex, at the highest level then. So then all you needed to do was just basically change the manager, bring in a striker. Well, you delayed that. So okay, so now you bring in Havertz. That offsets the issue. You bring him in for Xhaka. That doesn't work out. Oh well, let's move in the striker. Now you've got an imbalance there. Okay, well we'll bring in Marino. That's still an imbalance there. We'll bring him to strike. We'll move him to striker.
100 million gone, by the way. Just in them 100 million.
You bring in Calafiori. He gets started by Lewis Skelly, who signed a new deal yesterday, by the way. So we know he's not. We know Calafiori's not starting now. I told somebody that this week. My own Dan show. He's not starting. Calafiori's not starting next year. He's going to be holding paint on the bench or either playing center back. And so that's another piece of money that's been misspent. Then you take about the year before we went on that crazy run, the 8 point ball job. You look at Jesus, Zinchenko, that money was spent. So then you come to this year and you're hearing all of this. We've got to pay Peter today for money that's due on Wednesday. You start hearing all this payment plan stuff, this rent to own. You're hearing all this jargon that you hear. Yeah, this
Come on, man.
payday loans and all this stuff. You start hearing all this stuff. It's because of the situation we're in with these wages. So then you put all of this together, it's a recipe for disaster. This is the biggest concern that should be on every Arsenal fan's mind going into this season. If we do not, listen to this, listen to what I'm going to tell you now. If we do not finish in the top 4 next year, we're in serious trouble because of these wages. We got players locked in the death row contracts. I mean, I'm talking straight ghost contract, phantom contracts. We'll be out of Europe or out of the Champions League. We're back to where we were 5 or 6 years ago. The situation
this is worse, Matty. This is worse, actually.
Yeah, this is worse. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
this is worse. We could actually see a capitulation. We could actually see a United. What we saw with United this year, we could actually see a capitulation like that. And see, nobody thought that when what happened to United and Spurs this year could happen to them. We could very well go down this same path if we're not careful. See, this is why we should have been strengthening the team years ago. Everybody's screaming about, well, we need to do it now. We need to do it now. It's too late. You really left it too late. And when we talk about Berta, this is what I told Noski yesterday. We talk about Berta. This is when he's walked into this. And so he's walked into a situation where the wage bill is screwed up. He's got to try to figure out what can we get for players. Because I'm pretty sure he would like to be able to operate in a mode where if I could sell Zinchenko, I could get decent money for him. But guess what? He can't. Why? Because of the wages. AC Milan wants to buy the player. What are you hearing? They're interested in the player. We would like to get the player. Oh, well, we'll give you 10 million because of the wages. So guess what? We got to put the
rest
rest
of Borussia Dortmund, Matt. Look why Dortmund last year we didn't link with them. They're like, oh, actually, no thanks.
Hey, when the Brazilian team, because we are going to sell Jesus. When the Brazilian teams come knocking, guess what? We're going to sell them for a discount. Why? Because they don't have wages like that in some of those clubs. Palmeiras and them are not paying those kind of wages to players. So guess what? We're wasting money again. Berta has to come in here. He's going to have to deal with these wages. This is why, for me, this is the way I think it's going to play out. And it's just me speaking. This is just me, Southern Governor talking. I think what's going to happen is I think we're not winning the league next year. So unless something crazy happens.
Yeah,
we're not winning the league next year. We're going to struggle for fourth because Liverpool and City are both going to be good. You're going to get some random team that's going to pop out of nowhere. That's going to be fairly decent. And then look at this fixture list and you tell me where you think we finishing at. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. It's going to be, and I'm more leaning towards 5th, 6th. The way this schedule is constructed and what we've seen the last few years. So if that holds, then the manager gets the sack. Then now the new manager can come in and say, hey, you're not in my plan. I suggest you start finding somewhere else to play.
Yeah.
Then that's when we can finally unlock everything and start getting proper players in, start getting, get serious about what we need to be doing. But until this manager leaves, we're still stuck on the short bus and we're going up a hill with no brakes.
We're eating at the kids' table, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what it's like on your Christmas for yours when we've all had big sort of families and all of that. Because there's so many adults and family there, we all have the adults on the big table and we have set up a little other table for the kids on. Do you know what I mean? So they can have their own thing. That's where we're dining. That's where we've been dining.
Yeah,
probably. Let's just keep it Arteta. We've been dining there ever since he came.
Hey, Aaron, we down in that. You remember when you was a kid? If you had a sister or even a daughter or whatever, and they have the little kitchenette set with the little stool, and you sit down with them. They want to pray
a little plastic little burger and a little plastic bottle.
That's why we've been eating at the last
play set.
Yeah, that's the play set. Exactly.
Mate, do you know what? Yeah, there's and I'm so glad you sort of ended with it because I was going to sort of start by talking about this. So it ties in lovely. You said something about September, and I said this yesterday. I said this live on With Guns yesterday, and I said this on mine. There is, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, and I'm sure a lot of people in the chat will. There is a huge silver lining. Now I don't really care where the fixtures are sort of placed, though they are tricky at the start. That is what it is. I don't really care. I'm not going to use an excuse. But it's a hard run. That's all well and good. The silver lining is, if we both said about being sacked in September, the September sacking, please. Because I'll tell you what, maybe he might not go then. But if he was to get sacked in, say, December, January, it will be because of August and September, most likely. most likely. And I think we're all sort of looking at Manchester United and going, yeah, 14th, whatever, and all this and all that. Manchester United could get relegated to Division 2 and Arsenal will still have trouble playing at Old Trafford. We have seen probably in the last 10, 15 years, a spells of up and down, some of the worst Manchester United sides ever designed. Some of the worst players Manchester United has ever bought. And do you know what the kicker is, Matty, here in chat? They've also been riddled with injuries.
Yeah.
We've all gone there with Manchester United have had a crap squad. We've had our full squads, and they've had 5 of their best players out. They've played kids sometimes, and even it's a meaningless game for them. And we've still drew. Or I remember one of the years we scraped out with a stinky 1-0 win. You'll take it, but all the way, either way. Manchester United, this is a huge, huge fixture. And I'll almost take it on the point that you're saying about a cup final as well. I agree. If Arsenal don't win that game, I just think it sets off a domino effect of explosions that is going to be then almost unable to come back and claw back. Now, everyone will say there's 37 games left. What are we talking about? Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. Manchester United away and you lose or draw. All of a sudden, you've got a pressurised first home game against Leeds. Yeah. They're going to be bang up for it. They're going to be bang up for that game, Leeds. And I'm glad that's not away. Otherwise, I'm ruling that out as a win altogether if that's Leeds away and that was their first home game. It's not, fortunately, but they're going to be bang up for going to another challenge. They're going to be right up for that. All of a sudden, there's pressure on that. And I remember the last few home games of the season. And I'll just say this for an example, Matty. Last season, we beat Nottingham Forest 2-1. We were 2-0 up. And then in the last 30 minutes, we conceded a goal and we hung on for our lives. We could have easily drew or lost that game. We don't usually start the seasons very well. And I'll tell you, if we don't win against Manchester United and then the heads are starting to go around and we haven't got adequate signings in and we make a little boo-boo at Leeds at home, God help us, because it will start off a chain reaction that I don't think Arteta will recover from. So then you got Liverpool away, where we haven't won there. We drew there for the last 2 years. If you start the season bad, a draw ain't good enough. Because if you lose that game, Liverpool already possibly 5 points ahead of you. Yeah. Salah, you couldn't recover. We didn't recover from being 2 points behind after 5 games last season. We didn't. We could find ourselves, Matty, come the end of September, further away from Liverpool than we finished last year.
If nobody thinks that this can't happen, just go back to the 21-22 season. We started the first 5 games with 3 losses.
Thank you.
3 losses right out the gate. And what happened that year? Yep. That's one of the worst years up under this manager that we had. One of the worst. That was one of his worst years. And then you look at this situation here. You look at, like I told you earlier, you look at Leeds, Liverpool. These are back to back. You got back to backs.
Yeah.
Back to backs. And so I know what the top goons would say. They would say, "Oh well, 6 points out of 9 is that's not too bad. It's still 6 points. We got some points there." But then you go to the next month, and then let's say Newcastle, Man City. Well, you think we beating both of those teams back to back? No way. We're dropping points there. So the points have already started dropping. We've started doing that again. And people are trying to mask it. They say, well, at least we're getting the hard teams out of the way. But we struggle with the least of these. And I keep telling people, nobody wants to believe what I'm saying. Thomas Frank is going to have Spurs halfway decent next year.
He'll get
going to be halfway decent. Every team, we have enjoyed the luxury of being able to beat top 6 sides the last few years. It was
champions,
crazy.
Matt.
It was crazy that back in the day we couldn't beat top 6 sides. Then this year, the last few years, we beat top 6 sides. Well, now that's changing because everybody's changed. Everybody's getting everything in order. Lee was talking last night. He kept reiterating. He said, "Matt, City have got some serious ballers over there." He said that's like a ticking time bomb ready to go off.
Yeah.
And then you got Liverpool, Florian Wirtz. They're in the market for a striker. Woe be on us if they find a way to get Isak. Because I think if they get Isak, Jokeris goes to Newcastle. And if that happens, hang it up. You can just go ahead and shut the door down. Good night. Or vice versa. If they can't get Isak, they'll go get Jokeris, or they'll get Sesko. They'll get somebody. They'll go get 1 hour transfers, 1 hour targets, and then woe be under them. Or You'll see Osman pop up in one of these teams. Won't be under. It's gonna be won't be under. If any of these teams strengthen about 30 to 40% of where they already are, we're in major trouble. And this is why I was saying earlier: throw the title out your head, because now it's gonna be a case of we've got to try to compete, like you said earlier, for a top four position, because everybody else is gonna be strengthening around us, and then we've got the better brunt of dealing with trying to win trophies. And you was talking about pressure. Soon as the Champions League fixtures are dropped, there's more pressure. Because like I said, if we get a bad draw this year in the Champions League, do you think you trust this manager in a situation where we get in the group, we're sitting in the group with let's say Porto, Juventus, and then Real Madrid or somebody like that, or some crazy like that, some of these crazy, or Bayern Munich or somebody? We've got to go play Bayern Munich.
And do you know what as well, Matt? To just add in there with you, they're all difficult fixtures anyway in that Champions League. Even when you're doing well, we could find ourselves having to face them teams, Matty, after the back of loss and draws and horrendous Premier League form. That makes them fixtures even tougher because heads are down.
Yeah.
And it's not going to take a lot of heads to be down. And this is what's worrying me, Matt, yeah? You got the likes of Declan Rice that came here 2 years ago to win trophies, yeah? And that's what he said. He's came here to win trophies. Mock that as well as we want. That's all well and good. But he will want to win trophies. That's a fact. There's players here like Gabriel who's prematurely, but prematurely signed a new deal. I'm glad he signed a new deal for me. And just like a Saliba and a Saka, and I'll only stay on this for 2 seconds, I would have waited until September the 2nd. And I'd have said to the club, I'm happy at Arsenal if they are, and I know they'll get good wages. Cool. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, here's a gentleman's agreement. What we'll do is you show me your ambition in the window, and I'll show you mine at the end of it. Cool. All right. All well and good. You're going to get these players, though, Matty, that have now been in this process. Some of them for 4 years, some of them for 5 years, some of them for 2, 3 years. Your big players, the point I'm going to get.
Yeah.
They're all going to go. They're not going to wait until December this year and go, well, what's it all like? Come on, let's fight for it. They're going to get to September. And if Arsenal Football Club have got 2 points or 4 points out of them, and then we start dropping points in September to Forest and that, and all of a sudden we're finding ourselves 5, 7, 8 points behind, maybe even 2 teams, gone. The players will be gone because they know that they are here for an absolute failure of a season again. So their heads will go instantaneously is the point that I'm making. Their patience is up. They need to start this season, bang, or it's bust. I don't think there's any patience, any waiting, any middle ground. And yeah,
you're right, Aaron. There is no patience this year, and this is why I set the schedule. This is I can't hammer home enough. It's 2, 3 back-to-back losses. It's draws. 4 points here, 3 points there, 3 points out of 6. 6 out of 12. I mean, it's all over. It's all over this schedule. Shout out to Jens. Good morning, brother. Good afternoon. I hope people realize this. The players, when you were just saying, when you know they're going to start looking around. When they get to January, we're going to start hearing about transfer requests. Players want to go, move on, want to leave because the season will be over with. Have you noticed? You're not hearing any of the top gooners bring this up. What I'm about to say, you're not hearing. You haven't heard anybody bring it up. Nobody's talking about Saliba renewing the contract. Where's that been? Where's that going? Oh, it's going silent. Why? He's waiting to see, just like everybody else. What are you doing? Soccer.
Yeah.
They said soccer signed a new contract. Well, okay. Well, where's that officially at?
No, maybe they're waiting till July, like everything else.
Yeah, where's that at? You going to announce that on July 1st?
Behind the scenes, Matty.
Yeah, behind the scenes, behind the shadows. And so now you look at this, and you see that these players are just like what's the ambition of this football club? And the reality of the situation is this: if we're not successful, i.e., a trophy, the players will start to look elsewhere. And some of the most beloved players at this football club will say, thanks for the memories. Thanks for the opportunity to help me start my career, but I must move on in order to be successful. These players are getting older. Some of these players are 26, 25, 23. They are in prime years. They're looking at these other players and going, hey, I need to make a move. I need to be out of here. And they need these. And think about this too, Aaron. Some of these players are going to want to make a move before they get into a position where they go to a team where they're going to have to play second fiddle. So they'll
Fact.
probably want to leave when they can say, you know what, I can go get me a spot, and then I could probably be the main man instead of having to go in and play second fiddle.
Yeah.
And because there's opportunities. AC Milan's gonna be looking for players. They're trying to get back, get it together over there. Juventus is putting something good together over there. You know, Napoli. You look at Napoli. You know, they're gonna want to stay on top there. You know, you got you've got Ajax. You know, they're gonna be looking for players that some players that can help them get rejuvenated over there. You're gonna have teams across Europe. The big boys are all gonna be looking for players to get themselves sorted out. And if we ain't careful, they're gonna just start swooping in. Liverpool's gonna need to replace Salah.
Yeah.
You know, wouldn't it be crazy if
TV
Salah
did.
leaves, soccer shows up? Wouldn't that be crazy? Salah
It would be
leaves.
surprising. It'd be
Yeah.
crazy. It wouldn't be surprising, would it?
Yeah. So, or if Saliba don't want to lead the Premier League, Van Dijk retires. Oh well, we need a new center back. Oh well, come on over. You know,
they both have 1 year left on their deal.
Yep, and we're notorious. Bayern Munich, appreciate that, Paris. Bayern Munich, they're going to be retooling soon. PSG's going to probably want to have add a striker to the mix after a while.
Retail.
Barcelona's going to need a striker very soon, if not this summer. You look at Real Madrid, when it doesn't work, they just break it. We'll go buy another one. We'll fix. You know, if it doesn't work, we'll just buy another one.
Yeah.
You know, you look at DC Athletic, they're going to start trying to, get a couple of new players in. So there are going to be opportunities galore for our players to leave. And our fan base doesn't want to believe. They do not want to believe. They think these players are going to stay here 15, 20. Those days ended 20 years ago. That was when we grew up, players that would stay at the club 10, 12, 15 years.
Trent's a good example, Matty. Trent's a good example. You know, like everyone has expected him to do a Steven Gerrard. He's done everything he's to do there. He's still in his young 20s. I think is he 24 at least, something like that. There you go. He's moved on. Just as one of their own. They won't go. These are football players. They're driven by success. Well, you'd assume that they're driven by success. They're winners.
Yeah.
And if they are not going to hang around for us to get to December, their heads will drop. Declan Rice, does anyone here think for a second that Declan Rice, after signing into this project, this would be his first season, Arsenal Football Club could find themselves 10 points easily by the end of that October? Easily 10 points. We could find it by the end of September. What's that for the team then? Every single member in that squad knows they're not going to win the Premier League, and it's September. Every single one of them. Every one of them. And this is the silver lining that I've been mentioning about for the last 24 hours. The silver lining is regardless of what day it happens, and we know this club don't move quick, if Arsenal Football Club end up 8 or 10 points, given end of September, mid-ish October, because let's not forget, everyone said about the first 6 games, we've lost at West Ham at home twice in the last 2 years, and Fulham we ain't beaten the last 3 years. So we could easily find ourselves done, buried. Now, this would be an ideal. This is what I say, the September sacking. Please, September sacking. Get this manager gone by September. And I'll tell you what, not only would it reinvigorate, I think, the whole team, the whole playing staff, the whole everyone, the fan base, us, I bet you would probably nick a trophy. I bet you would nick a domestic cup. Unless Arteta's got us knocked out of the Carabao already. I bet you any money if we had a fresh manager come in, let's just say even in the beginning of November, I'd probably think, yeah, do you know what? I actually think we could win a domestic cup here because we're winning the FA Cup. We're going to get past the 4th round. And when we eventually get to a semi-final, we can't even score a goal, Matty.
You know, the one thing I can't say, I will give this one plus about the Kroenkes is that at least now I'm seeing, especially with the Nuggets, what they did with the Nuggets, they fired the manager in the middle of the season out of nowhere. Yeah. So hopefully they bring that philosophy into this season where, like you said, if it starts out bad, just you're out of here, eject. Yeah, you're out of here. You know, we're at the stage now where if Top Goose like say, well, what happens if he leaves? We're in a position where we're an attractive enough club to where this is Arsenal. First off, it's Arsenal. Number 2, we're in a situation where we're attractive enough where we should be able to attract a good manager to come in and get something done. And what you did in the back of your point up again, when Hansi Flick came into to Chelsea, what did they do? They ended up winning trophies. So if you do it at the right time, quick enough, you can stop the bleeding. If you wait to January,
Great point.
February, where he's been able to do some damage, then you're looking at a situation where now you got to resell players on a project. You got to resell, you got to go back down that line and try to get players to stay, which is a little bit more difficult if they've already at the point where it's like, yeah, you know what, we're halfway through the season, we're not winning anything. Do I trust going through this again another year, another 2 years with the manager? Da 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 da. But if you start early enough, like you said, September, I think October. I think September is in a perfect world, but I think October, November is more than reasonable, especially if we're in a situation, Aaron, where we're free falling or we're in a we will wobble and we get the Spurs and drop. If we drop points against Spurs or Chelsea in that period,
home in November,
yeah, then he'll be out of it. He'll be out, get ready to go into December. But I think October, November, I think if we're not where we need to be, or we're sitting there languishing in 6th, 7th, 5th, around that period, then yeah, break glass. Let's get somebody in. Hell, give it to Apple Albert for a year. Because I even believe with Apple Albert, we could at least get a trophy out of the deal, to be honest with you. So I just think that this season is going to really hinge on, are they willing to pivot from this manager quick enough to salvage the season? And that's going to be something you're going to hear from me. You're going to hear from DJB. You'll hear from Jess. You're going to hear from yourself. We'll all Shane Lee. We'll all be talking about, are they prepared to move away from this manager quick enough to save the season? If they're not willing to do that, then we're going to have a mass exodus. It's going to be a mass. You know what it's going to look like, Aaron, at the end of the season? It's going to look like everybody getting off a New Way subway. That's what it's going to look like. Everybody's rushing off the subway. Piling on. Yeah, to head out the door when as soon as it opens. This is a critical season in this football club history. This is without a doubt probably for me, and I've been watching Arsenal a very long time, the most important season that I've seen in a very long time, because there's a lot riding on this season. There's a lot of careers. There's a lot of players here. There's a lot of even potential transfers will be looking at this situation. And I think this is one of the reasons why we haven't been able to get people are talking about Rodrigo. Why would Rodrigo give up the chance to win a guaranteed chance to win a trophy? He's in the process of trying to win one right now. He's supposed to give all this up to come to Arsenal to do what? Start all, hope to get a trophy in 5 years. Hope that in 5 years I can get a trophy at this football club, because that's the way we're operating right now.
He'd have better luck joining the Titanic, bruv, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
he'd be jumping.
He'd have a better chance of finding
the iceberg's in sight. Iceberg right ahead.
Yeah, he'd have a better chance of finding the Titanic before winning a trophy with us, man. And this is the problem that we have. This is why I keep saying the problem that we have is that this whole process itself, this whole project or ordeal, we've had 4 or 5 years of going through the same thing, and you don't have anything to show for it. You don't have anything to show for it. At least when he first got here, I give him this. When he won the FA Cup with Unai's team, he actually had a trophy. He actually had something he could say, well, look what I can do. I can actually do, that was his year to, go be a car salesman. I can, do this, and instead he didn't, his naivety didn't allow him to go out and try to go, sell that. Now he's trying to sell hope. It's like trying to sell, dirt in the bottle. He's running around trying to sell that. And so you got to try to sell that to these players who have lofty ambitions. And so this is why we're getting linked to like the Ollie Watkins. You're getting linked with these type players. You're getting linked with the lowest of the low, Garnacho. We were supposed to be. These are your Europa League
players you sign, isn't they? But yeah, they're the signings you make if you want to get from 6th to 4th, didn't they? Not from 2nd to 1st.
Yeah, not from 2nd to 5th. You go. Yeah. This is what I'm saying, because everybody kept saying when Unai was running the show. Well, not Unai, but when we was in the Europa League with Arteta that first couple of years, well, we got to get back in the Champions League to bring in top tier talent. Well, we've been in the Champions League now 2 years running, 3 years, not 3 years running.
Number 3, yeah.
3 years running. Where the world class players? Where they at? Where are the world class? Not good players, not decent players, not great players.
Got 3 for me.
World class players. world class. I'm talking players. Last night, me and Lee was sitting there watching TT. We was watching TT Henry. And just to watch, we just sit back and remember the stuff that we've seen. Where's the players that do this? I was like, where are the players that strike fear into opponents? Michael Owen said himself that when he saw TT, he was like, well, I guess I won't be winning another trophy like that again. I won't be winning another one like that. And then where are those type players at? That's what we're lacking. We're lacking the Alexis Sanchez's of the world. We're lacking the Robin Van Persie. You're lacking these players that completely change games. We watched the Juventus game last night. Conceição, market opportunity. This manager coached against Porto. He was right there on the pitch. Didn't get him. 10 million. Didn't get him. Opportunity. This brother chefed up the team last night in the Club World Cup. Anybody that's in the chat that was with us on the watch along last night. Jez was there. He saw it. Well, he was fishing at the time. I think he was fishing. But now he was cooking his bacon sandwich last night. He was enjoying that good bacon under the stars. Yep. But people that was there with us last night, we saw Conceição, what he was doing. Conceição was all over the pitch last night, wreaking havoc. Where are the players like that? Where are those players like that we have?
Signing them.
Combine that. I say this point, I flip it over.
Yeah.
Combine this, Aaron, with the fact that how rigid this manager is. So when you combine that with with how rigid the team is, it's a recipe for this. It's a recipe for disaster. And so this is why I said we're in a mess from top to bottom this year. It's a complete mess, and nobody wants to face. None of these fans want to face the facts that we're in. JB always says we're in a rebuild. We're in a rebuild within a rebuild. We're in a rebuild, and it's all about to come down. We're like literally tweet. When you play Jenga, you pull that last piece of wood, and it's already tipping. And then you pull it, you hope that it doesn't come down. As soon as you pull it, just boom.
Yeah, Salah.
That's where we are. The tower's coming over.
It's like Inception. We're in a dream within a dream within a dream, isn't it? Yeah. We're in a rebuild. Yeah. I'm just waiting for Leonardo DiCaprio to come and be our manager, isn't it? And then that's it. We're in a retool within a retool within a retool. Do you know what? I'm gonna add on to this point, because what I was actually gonna say again syncs really nice with what you're saying. Sergio Conceição, where are all of these signings? Do you know who we will? And I've said this a long time. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. There's been no links. It's just the same feeling I had about Raheem Sterling. I reckon Arsenal, instead of going for someone like that on the wing, I reckon we'll have a punt on Jack Grealish. I will. A rigid player that don't belong on that wing. That's what we'll end up with. Someone like that.
I think it's Garnacho personally.
If it is,
this person, I think it's Garnacho. They got to get him off the wages.
R.I.P. mate.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. I feel like this is Garnacho, But this is where even if the man had good common sense, he could say, you know what? Who's the best up and coming player? Who's the player that can play on both sides? Who's the player? How about we just bring Eze into the team and let's just let him and Saka just run all over the place? We need double trouble. We need one on one side, one on the other. We need players that, when they move around, just go, We miss so many opportunities because this manager, and Adrian is right there in the chat, by the way. Rashford is another one that I could see come. That's another one where I could easily see that happening. What we need players that can move around all over the place. But the only problem with that is this manager does not like that. Does not like players like that. He wants you to stay right there, and that's it. And so he wants this rigid play. This manager, his philosophy has held us back from buying the best. I've seen so many players that we could have brought into this team that could have added to. But because this manager's philosophy, and he locks in on it. It's a case of the quicker this manager leaves and the quicker this board gets a shakeup, because those are two of the major problems in this football club: that board and this manager. Those are the things that are truly holding us back. And our window is closing just like this, because what little ground that we gained on City over the last couple of years. This is just City, not even Liverpool. This is just City. Now that's starting to fade away again. And then Liverpool has said, hey, we're still here. and we want to improve. And then how long do you think Chelsea's gonna put up with the crap they put up with? And while they even putting up with that, they're still winning trophies in the process. Spurs, bad as they are, still winning trophies in the process. United, 15, still winning trophies in the process. These are teams that we're supposed to be catching. They're still winning trophies. And we're still celebrating second place. We're still talking about 5-1 Madrid. We're still trying to justify Kai Havertz's $65 million tag. I got people on panel telling me Kai Havertz is without Kai Havertz last year, where we have been.
Yeah.
We probably would have been better if you put Marino up there earlier. We probably would have actually done better if you put him up there earlier in the year.
Mate, honestly, yeah, I wrote in the chat, yeah, because I was listening to that when that was said, and I'd wrote in there, and it's funny because I reckon Christian, because he don't usually have these takes. Christian read what I put in the comment. He must have read it word for word, because as soon as I heard the fella say that about what's that? When's the last time Kai Havertz let us down? I'm sitting there thinking, well, probably at least 50% of the Premier League games, yeah. And that's when I wrote, and I went, and the criminal misses against Manchester United when they had 10 men against in the FA Cup, and then in Newcastle in the first leg. That's that. I mean, he cost us 2 cups. If he'd have put one of them 4 or 5 chances he had away in them 2 games, we'd have probably been in a 4th round, and then who knows? We'd have probably had a good chance of winning one of them competitions, maybe even both of them competitions. You just don't know. Well, when was the last time he let us down? Most of the time. Most of the time, he lets us down. You know, and to be fair, the only thing I'll give Havertz credit for is he's just been paid. He's been shifted around here and all of there. It's not his fault. He's not 20 goal a season striker, because he's not 20 goal a season striker.
You know what he is, Aaron? You know what he is? He's a Europa League player. If we were in the Europa League, he would fit right in, because that's what you're just trying to get. Trying to get you to where you need to be. Just try to, And this is what I tell people. It's not like I'm saying he's this horrible player. He's just not the player that our fan base thinks he is. They look at him and they think he's a talisman, some talisman. No, he's a bit part player. He's always been a bit part player. He just happened to score a goal in the Champions League for Chelsea.
Yeah.
He's always been a bit part player. He was in a team at Leverkusen that he was fairly decent in, but he was also a cog in the wheel. He was never the main man there. He was never, this guy, When he got to Chelsea, same thing. Now he's Arsenal. He's doing the same exact thing that he was doing at Chelsea, and people cannot for the life of me, cannot understand that he's a bit part player that everybody's trying to hype up. This is the main problem. One of the main problems with this manager. We've got too many players like that in the team. Odegaard, he's another one. He's another player that's a bit part player. He needs to be playing with the main man, which means we need to go find the main man. He should be complimenting a player like Wirtz. We should have a player like Wirtz that can move the ball all over the place. And he should be the player that's there to help make that player's life.
To give the ball to Wirtz. Yeah. He's Odegaard's that geezer. Yeah. He's not.
People are looking at him to be Wirtz. He's not Wirtz. He's never been that player. And his entire
never will be.
Never be his player. Exactly. He never will, because he's at the age now where if he was going to go to another level, that would have happened 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
When I watched Costa Sal last night, there was several times there, and me and Lee was saying, that's what Odegaard right there. I said we were watching drifting the space. He'd go all the way to where the ball is. He seek the ball out. He look, distribute the ball, move, give and go. That's what Odegaard was supposed to be doing. But now we're in a situation where you combine all of that, and with the players that we brought in, and now you've technically got to replace some of these players like Odegaard in the next season. And you got to try to bring in better. You know what? One of the main things that I want to see with Berta, because I do have a checklist of things I want to see, contrary to what people think. What people you just support. Let me tell you what I want to see. The main thing I want to see changed at this football club is the scouting department.
I'm listening. I'm just going to go get a quick kind of drink. 2 seconds.
One of the main things I want to see at this football club this season and next season and going forward is the change in scouting at this football club. There's no way that we've got scouts that are supposed to be stationed in Argentina and all over the world, and we cannot bring in some of the best young talent that we can bring into this squad and that we could cultivate and blossom into being great players. There's no absolute excuse that we should be doing that. When Lee told me we had a scout in Argentina, I said, how do we have an Argentinian scout, and we can't go down to Argentina, and we can't bring at least 4 players from Argentina when they're littered? I mean, it's like literally you can go walk down the street and find a player, probably cutting grass or whatever, that can come into this team and be halfway decent. We got to our scouting department needs to be looked at. We should be signing these players up. These players should be coming through the academy. Chelsea is selling all these players coming through the academy. They got these random dudes just coming through the academy. They're making top dollar. City, they're doing the same thing. They're Chelsea,
Yeah.
and it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, man, that we cannot go out and find proper talent when Arsene Wenger was going all over France, and he was just finding them. One here, one there, one here, one there, one here. He finally, people forget Nasri. When we signed Nasri was up and coming. You remember that signing? It was 12 million. I remember Nasri came in from Marseille.
Marseille? Was it we got
Marseille, yeah, came in from Marseille. Up and coming. Just out of nowhere. Bring in Nasri. How did that work out? Well, that worked out pretty good. Then you look over at Jose Anton Reyes. We were talking about Reyes last night. Jose Anton Reyes. What those kind of signings at? These young signings that you can look, these firecrackers. You can see them as soon as they
January
come
as well.
Yeah.
January.
Yeah. Where are these signings at?
What did he do when we won the FA Cup as well? Because these are the signings. When people say this is I'm so glad you brought Reyes up, because when people are like, oh yeah, in January signings are tough and all of that and this and all of that. Reyes came in when we won the FA Cup that year, by the way. Yep. Who did we play in the 3rd round? Scored 2 goals as we beat Chelsea 2-1. He was a difference. He was a difference, bruv. But we can't do anything. 10 or 12 million, whatever he was.
Yeah,
Adebayor.
That's another one.
Was he like 7 million from Monaco or something like that?
But look, Aaron. Here's the thing with Adebayor. Is that Adebayor? Who did he learn from while he was here? Who was he paying attention to?
Thierry Henry and Robert Van Persie was next to him.
Yeah. I'm saying they had something. So we're bringing in Sesko. Who is he learning from? Who Kai Havertz is going to show him the way? That's what we're going to get. Kai Havertz, Mourinho is going to show him the way. That's what I'm saying. So where this is the purpose of having world-class players in the team. So when you need to restart the cycle again, you've got somebody they can learn from.
And then the level gets raised.
Yeah, the level gets raised.
Do you know what as well? That's fantastic, yeah. Because aside from natural talent, yeah. So we've seen 2 breakouts. Miles Lewis-Skelly a little bit more because he got more minutes in a position, really that needed. I think it was a little bit easier for him to start than it was Nwaneri, especially considering we know Arteta's crap at rotating and making good tactical substitutions, especially attacking ones. When they find their sort of level, because next year they'll improve as well. Let's just say they both get adequate minutes, yeah? Adequate minutes for their age and skill level. They will improve next year, both of them, no doubt, to some stage. But at also some stage, their natural raw development will come to an end. What takes you to that next level? When you're training next to Ashley Coles at left back, if that's where you're going to be. When you're learning next to him and you're like, all right, don't worry. I'll give me 2 years, Ashley. I'm going to take your number 3 shirt. But he's going to go, oh, well, I'm 17 years old and established here. All right, cool. So no one else is here. So he's not saying he's going to be lazy, but he's got no one to compete with. And that's even if he goes in the left 8, it's his. He's guaranteed got 2 positions at Arsenal Football Club, and he's played about 20 games.
Aaron, you know what do we used to hear about training when Vieira and all of them? What you used to hear about? There was one particular thing you used to hear about practices. They used to fight all the time, punch each other, punch ups. You never hear about that with the guys. Everybody slapping ass and having a good time, laughing and playing, and picking up grass, throwing it in the air. This is what we're doing in our training. It's a culture thing. This comes from the manager. It's culture. And see, the culture at this football club right now is just accept anything, all the way down to even the training. I just, for me, I see somebody in the chat here talking about Lookman. Lookman is another player. He's out there for 47 million. These are buyout clauses. Simple, easy. You're paying 35 million for Turkey. That's an Arsene Wenger deal. That's an Arsene Wenger deal.
I said it, Nasri.
Yeah.
It's Nasri. Even he's even like Nasri.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you look at these deals, even when Hassan Mawar was out there, these are Wenger signings. These when I'm looking, you look at that, you like Jared Bowen, Wenger signing. You look at all these Wenger type signings. How is it that this is what I was telling the leader today? I said, how is it that Mikel Arteta played with JJ Okocha and played with Ronaldinho and played with all these players over at PSG? Dynamic, boom, 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 and then he goes to coaching, even at Rangers. Rangers go forward. And then even Everton when he was in the Everton team, they was decent. Everybody, they was decent.
Yeah.
And then you come to Arsenal, you completely anti-football. Completely anti-football. He was in the team with Alexis Sanchez. He was in the team with Santi. He was in the team with all these players. And Aaron Ramsey, Giroud, all these players going forward. He was in the team with the Norwich when we scored that goal. He was in the team. And then now all of a sudden, we're playing anti-football. Aaron is crazy. It's the most damnedest thing I've ever seen. This is why I said this job for this manager was way too big for him out of the gate. He should be doing what Carlos Cuesta is doing. Parma is a big club, but it's not what it used to be. Yeah. You can go over there and learn your trade, get an experience, understand what you need to understand, fall on your sword one or two times, get some experience, and then no telling where your career goes. But instead, Arsenal, it was the first thing he saw, and his eyes got so big. It's just like eating too much food. You went to the buffet, and you got too much food on your plate. Now you sitting there, looking like Garfield, and that's what's happened with Arsenal. He's eating too much. He's fat as a cat, and now it's all falling down on him. This was everything we're seeing that we've experienced. The 8th, 5th, 5th, 2nd. 8 the semifinals losses, getting thrashed here, PSG this year. Then here you go. Now all of a sudden, everything that you've built yourself is falling down. It's time for introspection. He needs to be sitting there looking at himself. This is what I said. Not this year, but last year. I said last season, not this past season, but the season before that. That if he should sit down and should think to himself, am I the man? Am I the person that can get this team over the line? And then he would have said, exactly. You took the words out of my mouth. Saying exactly. He knows deep down in his. He
already said it, Matty. 2
years
ago,
3 years ago, I was gonna walk away.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Walk away from the job.
How can you do that? How can you do that after? And to be fair, I'll always give credit for that season because that was the last season I was going to the Emirates Stadium. Not towards the end of it, of course, but I was going to there every game with little low expectations, and we were blowing teams away, playing electric football. And then in the last quarter, it all came down. That's fair enough. But what is at the end of that season, Matty? He's like almost quit. Why do you think people? I know it's not war, but I tell you what, if you had your king there marching ready into battle, and then he went, you know what, I might quit. What do you reckon the 200,000 people behind you, ready to risk their lives, are going to do? They're going to go, oh, well, if he don't think we're going to fucking win anything, oh, well, that's not what a leader does. That's not a winner does. When the tough got going, we finally nearly got to what they're going, and then he throws his toys at the pram. Oh, I just nearly quit because it didn't quite work.
Nobody ever asked him. And if you think about it, nobody ever went to him and asked him, Mikel, why did you move away from the style of play that you played the first half of the season? Yeah. What made you change? Asked him, what made you change? What were some of the things that you were seeing that made you feel as if we needed to change and navigate towards a more of a defensive look?
Yeah.
See, that's proper journalism, by the way. I used to be a journalist. That's proper journalism, by the way, to ask that question, because that's how you get your answer. Nobody went to him and asked him that. Not one time in the last 3 years has anybody went to him and asked, why have you changed your style of play to a more defensive shell as opposed to the open free flow football that even you as a player experienced?
Yeah.
Nobody's asked him that. He did that because he was shell shocked. It's PTSD. He's never gotten over it. He's never gotten over it. And that comes, you only learn to get over that kind of stuff with going back to the drawing board. In order to be an effective manager, you have to fail at some point. You have to fail at some point. You're going to fail. There's no way you're going to be a perfect manager right out the gate. It doesn't happen that way. Very, very far between that happens. You know, and this brother has sat here and he's lived a lie. And this is why you're seeing him starting to look old. You're starting to see him say these stupid things in these press conferences, like last year, PSG, that we're the best team. Mikel Arteta, ha ha ha. You know, we're the best team. We were the best team in the tournament. You're starting to see all this delusion.
I see that video. You're clipping things up again, didn't you, Matty?
If you notice, Aaron, that thank you, Paris. He went out there and bought Havertz when clearly he knew that one. You know, that was just taking the piss. I'm gonna show people I can coach. I'm gonna make him I'm gonna get the best out of him, and he's doing all this silly stuff. That's a coping mechanism. I'm telling you that as a former coach. He's trying to garner sympathy. When you see him coming out like he was this year, oh, you know, the board upstairs has got to do this. He's signing players that we don't need. He's bringing in Calafiore for no apparent reason. He's buying all these goalkeepers. This is coping to try to hide the fact of his failure. Because if he was an actual coach, he would just simply address the issues at hand. The main issue 3 years ago was we needed a striker. We didn't need another goalkeeper. We needed a striker. What's the main issue this year? A striker and everything else now. He's coping. He's been coping the entire time, Aaron. And so now, this is why I said they're going to have to put him out of his own misery. Sometimes you have to put somebody out of their own misery. And
take him to the field like old Yeller, isn't it?
Take him out back. Like, hey, rest in peace, Clark. Take him out back and put him down. You got to go ahead and put him down. Save him from himself. We have to this ownership has to save him from himself. Berta's gonna have to save him from himself, because if you don't do it, it's gonna wreck the club. Yeah, and it's in the process of doing it now. He's in the process of wrecking this club. Everything that he's done his last few years, he's tearing it up himself from within.
Oh, it's a massive implosion, mate. Everything is done. Do you know what? You used the Jenga reference. So I was gonna say something like it's like a controlled demolition, isn't it? And that's what every fixture will be like. Yeah, bang, 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 bang. It'll all go down. And I'll tell you what, this season, if we start bad, it'll all go down in minutes like controlled demolition. You'll see something standing there like a tower, standing, competing, whatever you want to do. And then you'll look away, talk to your mate, turn back around, and you're just seeing a pile of rubble.
It'll go down like the Hindenburg. It'll go straight down like the Hindenburg.
Just tell her 1 minute you're there, next minute you're not.
Yeah, 1 minute
that's what our football team are. Yeah, that's what we are. Do you know what I wanted to say as well? And it's a point that you made a couple of days ago on with Potsy about this football team, and a point you just sort of was nudging on then. What did we need 2 years ago, 3 years ago? We needed a winger, we needed a striker. Main cogs in your attack, which has been neglected, by the way. We know that because in the last 5 years, he spent £72 million on the attack. Same amount as Pepe. That's how much he's done since he's been here at this football club. Spent the same amount as Nicolas Pepe cost. 5 years. And we needed one. He ain't signed a striker in 5 years. We sold Aubameyang 3 years ago. We've needed one. And he still hasn't done that. Why are we not addressing these points? What was the team like, Matty, in the summer when we signed Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, and obviously Yuri and Timber? What's the difference now? That was 3 summers ago. That was 2 windows ago. So this is the 3rd summer window since that window. What's the only difference in the starting lineup? Zubimendi, and that's only because we're giving Partey away for free.
Yeah, Partey's leaving. So now you're back to square one with that again. Now you got to go. What this I was telling Normski. That you brought up Partey. I was telling Normski yesterday. We was on the phone talking, and I told him, I said, you know, the most crazy thing is that regardless of Partey's age, and you know he had a healthy year last year, he's probably will still be considered one of the best defensive mids in the world. And so you're letting him walk away. And now you got to go find, if you're letting one of the best defensive midfielders in the world go, you got to replace one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. So now you're back to square one again. And
And
so
do you know what?
if you couldn't replace Xhaka and you brought in Havertz, how am I supposed to believe that you're going to replace Partey, one of the best defensive midfielders in the world? And me, Aaron, me and you both know it's taken Arsenal over 15 years to bring in a top flight defensive midfielder.
Since who?
Since Paddy Vieira.
There's a clue right there.
And if Diaby, we probably would have had it if it weren't for Diaby in the injury bug. We probably would have had it. But we still didn't replace Paddy Vieira. And that's the story. And we still hadn't replaced the striker since Aubameyang left. A proper striker, not a project, not 12 goals here, not 10, not 11. I'm talking coming to the table. He's leaving the league scoring over 100+ goals. You know, we haven't replaced one of those. We're not replacing the best of our players with the best available players. We're replacing players that we hope turn out to be good in the future. You know, Jesus, that you can go look at Jesus. Jesus was never a 20. People, I saw somebody the other day said, "What's the deal with this 20+ goal striker? What is it? Where is all this coming from?" Because that was the standard. That's always
base level standard.
That's base level
standard.
Base level. Look at this: 92 goals, 21 assists, 163 appearances. That was just at Arsenal.
Fastest Arsenal player to score 50 Premier League goals. Golden Boot winner, Matty.
Yeah.
He goes out. He won it.
He goes out. He buys Jesus. Cool. Who's going to compliment him? Because you need a player to compliment him. Oh, we're going to get Havertz. Put Havertz up there. You buy Trossard. Trossard was cooking.
Yeah.
Probably would have won us the title. I honestly believe, I'll go to the grave saying, I honestly believe we probably would have won the title and he left Trossard alone and let him play that season and just let Jesus come off the bench. No, he has to force Jesus back into the team. How did that work out? Jesus hadn't been the same. Hadn't been the same since. Injury. I think it was Simeo talking about, well, you know, he got injured this year, you know. Unfortunately, it was on the other leg. Well, he got that. That's two. One on one leg, one on the other one.
It's double finished.
Yeah, double dose. So he's done. His career is done. He's done. His career is over. You know,
at the top level, done.
Yeah, done. I hate it for him. You always hate to see athletes, you know, bite the injury bug. I saw it with Jack. You know, I hate to see that. It's the brutal side of the game. But the reality is that we don't have those Aubameyangs. Hell, we don't even have Lacazettes. We don't have, you know, Aubameyang. We don't even have Lacazettes. You know, that could actually, you know where the back of the net is. And this is my problem. We keep going back, circling over every summer, Aaron. Every summer, we keep going back, doing the same exact thing. This year is Zubimendi. And this is not a knock on Zubimendi. I think Zubimendi is a decent player. But the question is he Thomas Partey? Because that's what's walking out the door.
And will he hit the ground running?
Yeah, exactly. Does he need 3 years to get settled in? It took Xhaka 7. Hey, it took Xhaka 7 years to finally get settled in. On his way out, you saw the best of him. You saw the best of him on his way out.
Yeah.
You know, and then you
we gave Leverkusen a winner. There you go. We gave him shitloads of money and created him for 8 years. There you go.
It's like a child going off to college. It's like a child going off to college. Hey, man, we put you through school. We got you started. You know, we paid, you know, you're on your own. He goes out, oh, look, I've graduated. I went undefeated. You know, you look at that. You know, you look at every player that's left Arsenal. They've graduated. Everybody
University of Arsenal, Matt, isn't it?
Yeah, they graduate when they leave Arsenal. You know, we got to cut that out. We need players that are coming here and then graduating here. That's what we need. We need players that are getting us to the next level. And we're just not going to get it up under this manager. Yeah. And people have got to come to that realization until there's a change in philosophy with this board. When this manager is changed, it doesn't matter who we sign this summer. It doesn't matter who we sign. I'm on board. I don't care who we sign at this stage. I really don't care. Until this manager's gone and this board is sorted out, we're going to continue to have these same problems. And until the fan base decides that they want to wake up, and I'm hoping, Aaron, I'm praying that this season, with the way this schedule is lined up, because see, we won't have to sit here and invent like we did last season. It's going to be them. They're going to do the VIN this year. You're gonna see the E-Gals of the world turn around this year. And they're gonna be the ones that are gonna be biting their tongue doing the vending, because it's gonna be back to back here, 3 games here, back to back there, this here, that there, crash out here, crash out of this cup here. They'll see it. And I just have to say, we've been trying to tell y'all for the long. It's like I did the other day when we was on the panel. Everybody wants to go, oh, well, we need this, we need that, we need this. I've been telling you that for the last 3-4 years. Now all of a sudden y'all realize we need it. Guess what? It's too late. So how do you fix it? Get the manager, sort the manager out. Bring in a manager that can get. How is it that well, I think it was Alain played Real Madrid yesterday, and Real Madrid 1-1. Inzaghi's only been there. Inzaghi's only been there 3 weeks.
And he's already pulling out results.
They have Malcolm Koulibaly in the team. Malcolm and Koulibaly, Real Madrid 1-1. This is what I said. You have to coach the philosophy. We need a Conte. People. Oh, Conte would have brought the best out of these players.
Yeah.
You need a manager that can get the best out of your players, Aaron. The best, the absolute.
He'd have had to have done the less work and all. You know, a player like that would have come in and he'd have gone, "Oh, right, sweet." And we got to give credit to Arteta. He has assembled and inherited a Saliba, of course, but he's assembled a decent defense. You can't not. I'll give him credit where credit's due. But couldn't come in and go, "Cheers, Arteta. I'm going to turn this into a title-winning defense." You've created a good defense, Mikel. I'll give you that. Now pass it over to me. I will win the league with this defense. And he's already got all the foundations there, just not near anywhere in the attack, Matty.
And Aaron, if you look at what he did this year with Napoli, Conte, I'm talking, he goes in and he loans out Victor Osimhen. People are saying, well, you think about Havertz? He comes in and loans out Osimhen. You think a manager that's worth the damn comes in and looks at Havertz? Oh, he's out here. You go, buddy. You out of here. Odegaard, you out of here. We're bringing in something better. He brings in Scott McTominay.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe when Lee told me Scott McTominay was going in there. I was like, what? That's Scott McTominay. What's going on here?
Scott McWho?
Then he goes over, turns him into a world beater. That's a proof. That's proof that the proper coach that has the proper tools, that knows the game, can come in and sort out players and get them to the next level. Unfortunately, this manager can't do it because he's not been in the job. He's not been a manager for so long. No matter, regardless of what happens with Cesc this year at Como, that experience of him being at Como and him already having a technical mind anyway, is going to set him up for success somewhere. Luis Enrique. Look at Luis Enrique. He goes to PSG in a rebuild. They're in a rebuild. They've lost the world-class players have left that team. World-class. One of the best players on the planet. Regardless if you like him or not, Mbappe leaves the football club. Messi leaves the football club in the same calendar year.
Neymar the year before, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then you had Di Maria. Di Maria left a few years back. They all of them gone.
They're all midfielders. Who did they have? The young Italian guy. What's his name? It's completely gone out. Verratti. Verratti. There and a couple of other players. You know, they lost a lot of bloody players, man.
They were legit. And then they leave. And then you turn around and look up. They're winning Champions League.
They were the best team. They were the best.
We broke it down last night. They beat they had Bayern Munich, us, Liverpool, Aston Villa. You know, it was another team in there that somebody mentioned. They had several teams that they had to go through that playoff. They were beating They were beating teams 10-0. You know, they beat somebody else, blew somebody else. So they were blowing teams away. You know, then he comes in and gets them to the promised land. And the odds-on favorites to win this Club World Cup. They're odds-on favorites.
Yeah. And deservedly so.
Yeah, exactly. And so when I say bring in a manager, that's a world-class manager, this is the result that you get when you get a world-class manager. The problem that comes with world-class managers is that comes accountability. And a lot of our board members don't want to be held accountable. They don't want somebody to come in and tell them, I need this, I need that. Let me do my job. Let me do my job. You know, and I'll say this. after this season, if the Cronkies don't want the team, sell it. Let me tell you something. I'm a Lakers fan. As everybody know, I'm a diehard Lakers fan. The Lakers got bought out yesterday, $10 billion. Bought out yesterday. We sold the team yesterday to a new owner. We now have the Dodgers owner. We're getting ready to go places. If Arsenal wants to be successful, this fan base needs to be demanding that the team needs to be moved on, put in the hands of someone who wants to do something. Because I've wasted 20 plus years waiting for another Premier League title. I'm 43. We was in our 20s the last time we won a trophy. That joke, you remember the joke? You remember the joke, Aaron, that we always used to give Liverpool back in the day. Y'all hadn't won a title in 20 plus years. Well, we're the new Liverpool now. Yeah. We're the new Liverpool that we used to joke about all the time. Then we used to joke at Spurs. You hadn't won anything. You remember when they won the trophy back was 08, 09? The DVD came out. They did a DVD about it. You know, we joked about it. Now we're the laughing stock now.
How's that going for us, isn't it?
At what point does this end? Where does it stop? It stops with the fan base. When the egals of the world, when the Papa Pinkuses of the world, when the Babs of the world, when the Whale Beast of the world, when these individuals decide, you know what, I'm tired of looking like a damn fool on a weekly basis. I want to be able to say we've won a title. We're moving places, that we're doing something. Look at these Chelsea fans this year. Shit season. They still qualify for the Champions League. Ain't got a trophy for their trouble. Spurs, trophy for their trouble. Spurs, they'll never forget that. Lee had one brother on after they won it. He said, I don't even know what to do. I was like that when we beat Chelsea in the FA Cup. Because I didn't see us beat Chelsea that Chelsea. I don't think we beat Chelsea. And we beat Chelsea. What? It was a great feeling.
Great feelings, man.
We stole it from United back in 05. We stole it.
5, yeah. Stole it. Robbery.
Stole it. We stole it.
Robbery. The only other FA Cup final robbery I've seen since that is when we done Liverpool in 01.
Yeah, that was
sorry, Liverpool done us in 01.
That was Billy the Kid. That was Billy the Kid. What we pulled off against them.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it's like, bro, it's like seriously, we need to really get our house in order, and it's gonna have to start with his manager leaving. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Mr. Arteta, you're not the man for the job to go for, and people got to come to that realization.
We're regressing. I mean, we won't run for too much longer, but we are regressing in virtually everything. But Peter, do you know what does me in here is these standards where always progression now. They're ignoring now because we got to the semi-final instead of the quarterfinal of the Champions League. They're totally ignoring the absolute dross that we witnessed over 38 Premier League games in the FA Cup again, and then the humiliation in the Carabao Cup. So on their little metric of, it's a quarterfinal and the semi-final. So we're going to get to the final then, guaranteed. That's what these lot got wrapped in their heads. Book your tickets to Budapest or wherever it was next year, because trust me, that's it. Based on the metric of these top gooners, we're already in the Champions League final. It don't work like that. I bet you we don't even qualify for the quarters next year.
That's one of my concerns. I don't know if we make it out of the group. Yeah. I'm in DJB mode. I don't know if we make it out of the group, because if we get the I think it was Static was saying earlier, they've changed the format a little bit, and I keep forgetting about the format. We could actually end up with 6 solid teams, and then we're scraping to get out of the group. 2 or 3 losses in the group, you looking at trying to get the playoffs to get in.
Mate, do you know what as well frustrates me, right? Because when these are the excuses, the flip-flops of the top gooners. When we say about Liverpool and Manchester City, and I'll get into why, they're going, but Spurs ain't really done much business. Newcastle ain't done really much business. Well, if we're competing for first place, why are we comparing our window to Spurs' window then? Why are we comparing it to Newcastle's window? You can't have both ways. You can't eat at both sides of your mouth. Okay, so if we're competing with Liverpool and we're competing with Man City, let's compare our window to Liverpool's and Manchester City's. And we've seen in the last couple of days, Manchester City players have already made their debut.
Yeah,
they've made their debut.
Played yesterday.
They're making their debuts. We've seen Liverpool now getting shirts on for most of their new players That including Mesut Ozil to Real Madrid, Florian Wirtz to Liverpool. In the shirt, done. That's it, finished. What are we seeing? We are seeing another Fabrizio, here we go again,
Same
thing
one we saw in January.
on Zubimendi.
The same one we saw in January. That was the same one we saw in January. That was the same one we saw in January. Hey, you know what he did? He just changed the picture. Just changed the picture and re-uploaded it.
Yeah, that's what he's done today, Matt. Yeah, that's what he's done. Like with his ticking sand timer, whatever he does, you know, the tick and then the sand timer, whatever it is. That's what we're doing at. Then we're being told, Matt, it's like, oh, don't worry, we'll wait until July then. That's cool. Well, July, and I do this and I'll be doing the same thing tomorrow on my calling show if I'm able to do it still. And if not, it'll be Saturday. I do calm down, everyone, and then I say the date, and it'll be the 20th if I do it tomorrow, or the 21st. I've done the same thing last week. I've done the same thing the week before. Nothing's changed. So when people are saying calm down, it's only the ... We're going to go like this, ladies and gents, and it's going to be the 19th of July. Then we're going to blink our eyes, and it's going to be Manchester United away. We haven't got time. And the pace of the window, and I coin this phrase all the time, pace of the window is not dictated by the date of the month or whatever. It's by what your rivals are doing. And I'll tell you what, Manchester City and Liverpool have dictated the pace in the window. They've shown their fans and every other football club, their owners, their manager, their intentions. Manchester City decided to do that in January when they went, looks like we probably might not be winning a trophy here, guys, for the first time since 16-17 when Pep Guardiola come, by the way. They were emptyless and they've gone, yeah, right, we're going to sort this out. Bang. There you go. What have they done in the last 6 months, Matt? He spent 400-500 million quid. They've signed 5 players this summer. 5 players, probably nearly 6. And but it's only the 19th of June. Only the 19th of June. Do you think they're going to stop there? Look what Liverpool's done. Oh, we were Premier League champions. We also got to a final, deservedly lost, by the way, but we also got to a final. How can we build on that? All right, cool. Well, what was we missing last year? Well, we were missing a left back. You know, Robertson's on the way down and Simicast is there. All right, cool. We'll get that. All right, well, Trent's gone. I'll tell you what, we'll adequately replace him nicely. Bang, that was done within a week. But we need a bit more in attack, really. Yeah. Florian Wirtz, best number 10 out there that everyone wants. Maybe not the best exactly, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
he's the most in-demand 10.
Yeah, top draw.
Yeah. He's got the number 10 everyone wanted.
Yeah.
If everyone said, all right, choose a number 10 now, join the squad, everyone's going Florian Wirtz. They've got him. The Premier League champions, Liverpool, they got him. 19th of June. Do you reckon they're going to stop there? Because you alluded to this, and we've all alluded to this. This is what happens with Arsenal Football Club, who have done nothing, by the way. Well, apart from being linked with Kepa Arrizabalaga, by the way.
I said we got more links to the Figaro chain.
It's ridiculous, mate. But we're now being told as another little diversion. Oh, yeah, but everything's going to be done in July. Okay, cool. We'll run with that then. But why are we the only team that are doing this? By the way, everyone else is making signings, but we have to wait until the 1st of July. Okay, cool. Why ain't Zubimendi's medical done then? Why is that not done and ready to go? If his deal's already been done, why has he not even done his medical yet? So it can be confirmed on the 1st of July. Why is that not done? What about the Kepa thing? Why is that not done? Why have we not signed Gyökeres or Benjamin Sesko, God forbid? And then just waiting for the 1st of July. Now all their medicals are done. If this is the truth, because it's not, it's a load of bollocks, which is the point I'm going to get to, and just press the button, send. There you go. There's the money. Deal's done. There's the offer. Sent. All well and done. We are being left behind. And we are not just being left behind, a tiny little bit. We are being taken the piss out of. We're everyone else running up against peak Usain Bolt.
You know what
That's
it is?
what we are.
You know what
we're the
we
geezer
are?
that finished 4th.
You know what? We home alone. You remember when the family left the house and left McCullough Cousins in the house? Yeah, everybody, they gone. They on the plane. They're
on the plane.
Yeah. Arsenal wake up. We just got out of bed. Where's everybody else? They gone. They left the house. There's no cars in the garage.
They're in a different state.
Yeah, they're in a whole different state, different country. That's how people are moving. Like I told you, don't stress yourself over this. That's why I tell you, don't stress yourself over this. Let it happen. And when you sit there and look at that schedule, you know what's coming. This is why I said that schedule is crazy as this sign is confident in that schedule because you know what's coming. It's one thing to get blindsided and you can't see it happening. Like 8-point ball job. That was blindsided. We were blindsided by it. We were like, how the hell do we do this? Then the year we finished behind them a couple of points, you you know, it's like, man, you know, that you had to take that one on the chin. But this right here, last year, not even close. 15 points, 10 points, or whatever it was, not even close. Then this year, look at it, it's not even close. Think about this. If we finish 10 points with the teams as they were last year, with the schedule the way it was, what is it going to be this year with the schedule the way it's constructed right now? And we hadn't matched the strength of the other teams. It's going to be the same old song. And you know what it's got the makings of? It's got the makings of the back end of Arsene Wenger's career. When by the time we got to March, it was basically just get ready for next season. That's what is going to be coming this year. Get prepared.
Yeah. Matty, we will round it off there, my friend. An absolute pleasure to have you on. I was been a little bit conscious of the time as well. You know, I know you had a little bit of late night and all that. Hour and 26. Pleasure with every single second of a man, and I'm sure the chat think the same. What have you got coming up, man? Where can we see you?
I'm going to do a call-in show tomorrow.
Nice.
I'll get that lined up. I'm going to just call-in show tomorrow. I got to see. I think we got a couple of games though.
What time roughly, bud?
It'll probably be. It might actually be tomorrow about this time because I've got it might be a little earlier. It might be either 2 or 1 tomorrow because I've got to take my uncle out tomorrow for Father's Day lunch. So we'll probably go hang out tomorrow. But it'll probably be in the morning. I'll probably get up tomorrow, do it first thing in the morning, which is my time. So it'll be like 8 or 9 my time. So I'll probably do a call in tomorrow. And then this weekend I'm just chilling. I'll probably catch a game with guns or whatever, depending on who's playing. And then that's it, man. That's it.
No, wonderful, man. But now listen. Yeah, like I said, we're gonna go raid Dan Potts, raiding with Aaron Raid. And pleasure as always, Matty. And yeah, I'll take her out, mate. Big up to everyone in the chat. All the way out. Forever and always. Big up.
Yep,